Good morning friends. Today I am going to take a session on workshop on instrumentation in knee ligament reconstruction. Knee ligament reconstruction is the most commonly performed arthroscopic procedure, and a good knowledge of your instrument set will help you improve the functional outcome and improve the results. The instrumentation set is your best friend whenever you are doing an operative procedure. So in this particular session we will be covering the instrumentation set provided by Osteocare along with the implants provided by the Osteocare. Now, when we start with our any ligament procedure or ligament reconstruction surgery, we will go step by step. The first thing is the graft harvest. The most commonly used grafts are semitendinosus and gracilis, and here there are two kinds of tendon strippers that are used. One is an open tendon stripper and the other is a closed tendon stripper. If you can see, this is the most commonly used stripper and this is called as a closed tendon stripper, and this comes in two diameters, 6 mm and 7 mm, 6 mm and 7 mm, and this is the most commonly used stripper in our clinical practice. Now this is an open tendon stripper, and open tendon stripper is also a good stripper and it has got few indications or few use. Its indications are: number one, if you are doing an MCL reconstruction keeping the origin of the semitendinosus intact. So if you want to reconstruct MCL with an intact insertion of semitendinosus, then you can use this. The second indication is a minimal incision or a posterior thigh incision harvest of the semity tendon. So there is a new technique in which we harvest the semitendinosus not by a shin incision but by an incision on the posterior thigh, and for that you can use a open tendon stripper. This technique is helpful because it will avoid non-cosmetic or bad scars. This scar which is in the posterior thigh is not visible, and it is good if you are using it for a cosmetic purpose. For the open tendon stripper is a ACL reconstruction technique in which you preserve the semity insertion. So some surgeons are doing ACL surgery with the intact semity insertion on the shin, and in this particular indication, this is the third indication for using an open tendon stripper, and you can use it with an open stripper and you can loop it around the endo button and use it like that. So this is another indication. So there are three predominant indications for using a open tendon stripper. Now once you harvest your tendon, then you come on the back table, and this is a set that you will like to use. Now this is a graft master board, and this comes with a markings on the top and on the bottom, and so you can mark your graft. This white area will help you prepare the graft nicely, and then these are all the attachments. So these are these two longer attachments, and this attachment is a movable attachment, so you can tension your graft properly. So remove all the muscles by keeping the graft here, and then attach the two ends of the graft here and prepare the two ends of the graft with osteofiber number 2 sutures. The number 2 suture of UHMWPE, that is ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, and this is a very good and very strong suture and very less chances of cut off as compared to Athibond sutures. So once you prepare your graft, then at this point of time you will remove these two attachments and replace it with these attachments. And these are two wonderful attachments. This attachment has a tensioner inbuilt, so it will tension the graft very nicely, and if you wish you can rotate this screw to give extra tension to the graft. And on this side there is an attachment on which you can attach the endo button very nicely. So this is on the other side you can attach the endo button, and this knob will help you tension the graft. So here we have used the adjustable loop here, and this is sort of a graft. this tape that you see here is called as a fiber tape. It's a broad kind of a tape which we use nowadays for augmenting our ACL reconstruction, because this will augment and strengthen the ligament, and it will also give a brace kind of a effect. So you can reduce the need of immobilization and reduce the need of external brace. So this augmentation is also used nowadays to strengthen the ligament construct. It has got some benefits. It increases the diameter of the graft, it increases the tensile strength of the graft, and it also makes a brace kind of a effect or a seatbelt kind of a effect, which reduces the re-rupture rates of the ACL ligament. So this is a fiber tape, and fiber tape augmentation is now a norm in a ACL reconstruction surgery, and I recommend all of you to add a fiber tape augmentation to the ACL reconstructions that you are doing. Also, this is a surgical marker, and you should always use a marker while using a adjustable loop, because that will give you an idea. Supposedly your tunnel length is 4, so it is better that you mark your tunnel length with 4. So what you suppose your tunnel length is 40 millimeters, so you have to mark your button at 40. This is a very important step, because if you are using an adjustable loop, if you don't mark this, you might end up having your button positioned in the soft tissue very outside of the bone, and that is a complication. So whenever you are using an adjustable loop, always use a surgical marker to mark the length of the tunnel in this way. So if your tunnel length is 40, mark it 40 on this button. Now this is a tendon graft sizer. This is a graft sizing block that we use, and kinds of graft board which are available. One which is in 1 millimeter and the other one is in 0.5 millimeters. So 6, 7, 8, 9, and the other one is 6, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5. You can use both of them. This is the more commonly used block. The other one is more accurate, but it is less commonly used. Now we will come to the fixation options in case of ACL reconstruction or any other ligament reconstruction. Extracortical fixation is a norm these days. Now there are two options. You can use either a fixed loop button, which are these two, or you can use a adjustable button, which is here. Now all of these buttons are good, but I'll just explain you the advantages and disadvantages of each of them. So fixed loop buttons are of two types. One is a continuous loop and second one is sort of a rigid kind of a loop. Both of them are good with very good fixation. The only drawback of these buttons is they need to be very nicely calculated. So if you are using a fixed loop button, you need to calculate the tunnel length very precisely. So this is very important. If you are using a fixed loop button, you need to be very mathematical for the tunnel length. So as compared to the rigid loop, the continuous loop has a better flipping feeling. So whenever it is this feeling or a flipping feeling is better with the continuous loop. So in a normal practice, it is better to use a continuous kind of a loop as compared to a rigid loop kind of a device. Now this is an adjustable loop. This is called as adjustable loop, and this is 4 thread. So the advantage of this button as compared to any other conventional adjustable loop device is it has got 2 threads just like a fixed loop button to assist the flipping. So you have a very nice flipping feeling with this kind of a button, because these 2 threads are the same as the fixed loop devices. So the one disadvantage of the adjustable loop is covered. Now the adjustable loop is a loop which shortens in the length when you pull the 2 threads. So adjustable loop has an advantage that you don't have to calculate the tunnel length and the tunnel exact length. You can just use it freehand. The second advantage of using an adjustable loop is you can change your tensioning even after insertion of the graft. So even if after fixation of the tibia, you can do retensioning on the femur. So this is the second advantage of using a adjustable loop. But as I told you, adjustable loop devices have some disadvantages. The first disadvantage of adjustable loop, but not a very good flip which can be felt in earlier generations of the adjustable loop, but that shortcoming is overcome in this button because you have a very good flip feeling in this particular button. The other disadvantage of using an adjustable loop is occasionally the loop can be much out in the soft tissue as compared to being exactly extracortical. So that is why, as I told you, marking on the button loop of exact length of tunnel is very important, because we don't want the button to be out in a soft tissue or over the TFL as compared to over the extracortical bone. So because we want the button in extracortical fixation device exactly on the bone, so that will give you the most strong repair. So this is a disadvantage in this case. The third disadvantage of using an adjustable loop is occasionally you don't have a idea that how much of your graft has gone into the femur, and supposedly if your femur diameter is less and the graft is wider, occasionally you may have a feeling that it has gone in, but actually it has not. So that is again a shortcoming of using an adjustable loop. But all in all, you can use both fixed loop and adjustable loop with equally good results. Now this button is a no button tightrope, and this is used with a button. So this is used on a tibial fixation. So if you want to do a all inside kind of a ACL, you can use a no button tightrope like this along with this kind of a suture disc. This offer a very rigid extracortical fixation on the tibia if you are using a all inside kind of a fixation. So this is again a very good technique for the tibial side. Now as far as screw is concerned, you have few options. This is a regular interference screw, and as you see, the screw margins are blunted, so there are very less chances of graft cutout while using this kind of a titanium screw. And this is the screw of my choice. This is called as a PEEK screw, and nowadays PEEK screw has become the fixation modality of choice for almost all the surgeons, because one, it is bio-inert, it does not dissolve or absorb over time, the fixation does not become loose, it does not cause any kind of a sterile reaction. So if you are using any bioabsorber screws or biocomposite screws, there are a few chances that you may have a inert reaction or a sterile reaction to the material of the screw like a PLLA. So that is not the case with a PEEK screw, because it is absolutely bio-inert. It is absolutely compatible with the MRI. So if you are using a PEEK screw, you can use MRI very easily, and it will give readings with the MRI also. The other advantage is, if you can see there are small holes into the screw, so that also will assist in little bit of the bone ingrowth inside the screw itself. So at present, PEEK screw is one of the screws of my choice when I am doing a reconstructive surgeries of the ligament. Now some other fixation device. This is a suture post, and you can use it with a 3.5 mm screwdriver, and this is also very good. You can tie the threads over it, and it is again a form of a cortical fixation, and it is a good and a time tested technique to fix your ACL graft on the tibial side. Now this is a spiked washer with a screw, and this is very good if you are using it for a ligament avulsions like a MCL or a LCL avulsion on the femur. So it will just hold the ligament where it is, so it will just press the ligament. So it's called as a spiked washer. This is a staple, and this can again be used if you are using a MCL or LCL fixation. So again, this is a holder for the spiked washer, and you hold it nicely. So this is a holder for the ligament spike washer, and then you have to just tap it in nicely, and this is your spiked washer. And as far as the extracortical fixation on the tibia is concerned, you have, as I told you, three options. This is a D-hole suture disc, this is a round hole suture disc, and this is the more advanced four hole suture disc. So these are all three options that you can use on the tibia. All three have their own advantages. A D-hole has an advantage, it is easy to use, and there's less difficulty in passing. Even if the graft is long, it will be no problem while using this kind of a disc. This is the more regular use disc, and you need to pass your threads through the small holes. And with this disc, you have an advantage that you can tension 4 sutures separately. So 2 and 2. So 4 sutures can be separately tensioned by using this kind of extracortical device on the tibia. There are 3 tunnel plugs which are available in this particular system: 7, 8, 8, 9 and 9, 10. And occasionally you must have noted that there is a lot of fluid outgush from the tibial tunnel, and that makes the floor and everything wet. So you can use that in the tibial tunnel to actually prevent the fluid outgress. So this is a very handy instrument to make the operative field clean. Now coming to the main instrument trays, if you see this instrument set, it is a very rich instrumentation set as far as the instruments are concerned. So there are 3 microfracture awls which are available, and they are available in 3 angles: 90 degree, 45 degrees and 30 degrees. As you all know that microfracture is a very useful technique in treating a localized full thickness chondral defect outer bridge grade 4 and a unipolar. So that for these kind of lesions I recommend microfracture, and these are 3 microfracture awls that are available in this set, and depending on the angle you can use all these 3 microfracture awl in your practice. Now there are 2 offsets available in this system. This is number 5 mm offset aimer, and this is 7 mm offset aimer. And these are very good if you femoral insertion. The ideal technique is an anatomical technique, where you can actually mark the spot of the footprint. But if you are using a footprint aimer, then it becomes a more consistent technique. And in my normal practice, I use a 7 mm aimer offset, because you need to leave at least 2 mm of the posterior wall to prevent the posterior blowout. So if you are using a 7 mm offset, you can use a graft up to 10 mm, because that is 10 mm graft will be 5 mm diameter, and 2 mm of the posterior wall, that makes 7 mm. If you are using a very thin graft in a female patient, occasionally you can use a 5 mm aimer, and this is only used if your graft size is less than 7 mm. So these are the 2 offset aimers that I use in my clinical practice. This is a depth gauge that we use, and it is always mandatory and good to use your depth gauge, because as I told you, you need to have an exact and accurate assessment of your femoral tunnel length, and that is exactly possible by this kind of a depth gauge. This is a cannulated screwdriver that we use to insert any kind of the interference screw. These are the 2 rasps. This is a curved rasp and this is a straight rasp, which is available with this system. And these are the rasp you want to use to prepare your tunnels. So occasionally you would use a straight rasp, and occasionally you use a convex rasp. Specifically, if your graft passage is difficult in the tunnel on the tibia, you can use these kind of a rasp. This is a marked probe. So this is a knee probe, but the advantage of this probe is it is marked, so you can actually see the dimensions of your structures by using this probe. So you can actually see if your structure is 5 mm, 7 mm, 10 mm, because this probe is a marked probe and it has got a gradations up on the top. This is a PCL elevator, and it is also a PCL protector. So this you can see a knob there, and this knob will catch the wire, and this will prevent any kind of a vascular injury. So it has a multiple function. It is used as a PCL elevator, and it is also used as a PCL protector device. Now come the 3-in-1 set. So this is the 3-in-1 golden set which is available, and these 2 structures, the bullet and the main guide, is constant, and you can use all these 3 This is the first thing that we use, and this is an ACL elbow aimer, and normally you use a guide wire, and before using this jig you always have to check whether your guide wire is going at the right position or not. It has to aim at the elbow of the jig. So, and then you have to set it usually between 55 to 60 degrees for a good angle. So normally I try to keep it between 55 and 60 degrees of angle, and this is the bullet. The other thing is that the bullet is also cannulated and marked. So you can see the markings here, and this will give you a rough idea about the length of the tibial tunnel we are talking about. And usually the tunnel length in our practice is 40 to 45 millimeters. Now with the same jig you can use for the tibia of the PCL tibial aimer, and this is again a very good jig if you are doing all inside PCL reconstruction. Again, I like to keep it around 55 to 60 degrees, and in this PCL reconstruction it is still more important to have a very nice protection here, because posteriorly there will be all vessels around, and your drill wire should not displace medially or laterally, because in that case it may cause injury to the vessels. The third attachment here is a PCL femoral jig, and if you are using a outside in kind of a femoral drill, you need to use this PCL femoral jig, and that can be used in this fashion, and the drill, as you see, should go into the hole. Occasionally you can use it as a ACL femoral jig as well, specifically if you are doing some children, or you are doing epiphyseal preserving or physeal sparing kind of a ACL reconstructions. You can use this kind of a jig for ACL femoral tunnel as well. So this is all about the jig. Now there are two kinds of wires that it comes with the system. This is a long wire and this is a short wire. I use the longer wire for the femur and the shorter wire for the tibia, and this femoral wire comes with a hole inside, so this is called as a bead pin, and this can be used to shuttle the thread out through the femur, so this is called as a bead pin. Now this is the set with all the cannulated reamers inside. If you see, this is a 4.5 millimeter endo button reamer which we use more commonly to drill the femoral tunnel, and this is the drill which is sufficient for an endo button passage. So this is the most commonly used drill, and you can see the markings over here, and these markings is helpful to actually see how deep the drill bit has gone. Now we have two types of reamer. This is a flower tip reamer and this is a solid reamer. So these flower tip reamers are normally used for the femur, and the solid reamers are normally used for the tibia, and they usually come in 1 millimeter increments. Normally in tibia, what I recommend is, if you want to drill a 9 millimeter tunnel, you drill with a 8 millimeter solid reamer, and then you use these tunnel dilators. So if you are using a 9 millimeter, you use a 9 millimeter tunnel dilator after a 8 millimeter tunnel and compress it with a hammer. So what that will do is that will compress the cancellous bone, and it will be a more bone preserving, and it will be a more better fixation of the graft as compared to if you ream with a 9 millimeter reamer. So this is all about the reamers. So this was all about the instrumentation set of ACL. To know your set very well and to be well acquainted with all your instrument is very important whenever you are considering any ligament reconstruction surgeries. If you have any questions, we will be very happy to answer them. You can post them on the comment box and we will be very happy to answer them. I have been using this particular instrumentation set in my clinical practice for the last 5 years, and so far I am very happy with the results and the outcome. Thank you.